Good evening. Welcome to the English News Bulletin. And for this bulletin, let's begin with the headlines. On a 99.1% vote, President Paul Kagame, who is also the chairman of RPF Inkotanyi, was elected as the party's flag bearer in the presidential elections slated for July this year. A joint study conducted by the Ministry of Rwandan Unity and Civic Engagement in partnership with the International Organization of Interpeace reveals that the government's initiatives to expand infrastructure countrywide have played a significant role in elevating standards of unity and resilience among Rwandans. It is always a pleasure to have your company. My name is Olive Nete. Now to the news in details. On a 99.1% vote, President Paul Kagame, who is also the chairman of RPF Inkotanyi, was elected as the party's flag bearer in the presidential elections slated for July this year. Moreover, the head of state assigned the RPF members to plan for a successor in times ahead. Prince Manzi kicks us off tonight.
The expectation of the 2,000 participants of the RPF Extraordinary Congress, convened at the party's headquarters at Rusororo, was for the candidate elected at all levels to accept the responsibilities of being their flag bearer in the upcoming presidential elections in Rwanda. President Paul Kagame, who is also the chairman of the RPF, reiterated that the party's members are the ones to determine who is to represent them.
noneho ugakora cyangwa ukavuga ibyo ushaka kuvuga ariko byinshi mbona.
You think, then you work or speak whatever you have to say. But often what I see is that people work, speak, and later think. This is where it raises big issues that we face. Do not work, do not speak without first thinking. In this case, this prevents us from unnecessary things, or things that trouble us, or we reduce the issues we might face. But every day one is to be reminded of just the simple things. As we sit here, who can achieve anything without collaborating with their fellows?
On a 99.1% vote, President Paul Kagame was elected as the party's flag bearer in the presidential elections slated for July this year. President Kagame appreciated the RPF members who never ceased to trust him as their flag bearer. And the head of state demonstrated that there is a special context that makes Rwanda different and it includes its history and culture. Hence, for people to develop, it requires to work in a special way, adding that people are to avoid thinking after doing. President Kagame, who was also the chairman of RPF Inkotanyi, urged the members to think on a successor to carry on their responsibilities, as this assures the sustainability of the achieved, adding that they should not wait for his suggestion.
ndetse dutekereza bya bindi byacu erega iyo bitaza kuba bya bindi by'umwihariko nahereyeho.
Had it not been for the uniqueness I was talking about, you shouldn't have called me in 2010, 2017, 2024. The only reason I reluctantly accept to continue with this responsibility is the specific context of our country and the world that we live in that is not easy. That is why I accept this. Otherwise, we are supposed to look for others.
The head of state reiterated that there should be collaboration for RPF to progress and the country at large, hence calling for someone to relieve him of the burden.
ndashaka kuntura uwo muzigo nikoreye.
I want someone to relieve me from this burden that I am carrying, and those to relieve me are among you. There are even those that it requires to be reminded as they do not feel it, and it would amaze them to find out that they can. If it will require to do that, we will.
In this extraordinary RPF Inkotanyi Congress, there was presented a list of 70 selected RPF Inkotanyi members who will be vying for parliamentary seats in the general elections of the 15th July 2024. Prince Manzi, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Prince, for the details. Now to more news. A joint study conducted by the Ministry of Rwandan Unity and Civic Engagement in partnership with the International Organization of Interpeace reveals that the government's initiatives to expand infrastructure countrywide have played a significant role in elevating the standards of unity and resilience among Rwandans, particularly after the genocide perpetrated against the Tutsi 30 years ago. We have more in the story. The study highlights commendable progress Rwanda has made in fostering unity and resilience among its citizens 30 years after the genocide against the Tutsi was stopped. Findings from interviews conducted around the country reveal that the provision of inclusive infrastructure has increased public trust in the government's commitment to promoting holistic development.
Leta y'u Rwanda yashyize imbaraga cyane mu kubaka ibikorwa remezo birimo imihanda, birimo amazi.
The government has put efforts in building infrastructure, including roads, water, and electricity, and it has done this equally across the country. That is why residents always praise the President of the Republic because of his great work and because what he promised, he did. And this is also because their lifestyle is changing because of the good initiatives of the government, be it in programs of Girinka, community health insurance, and also ensuring that these programs benefit the residents.
The study, initiated in 2022, Frank Kaitari, the country director of Interpeace, emphasizes that to sustain the upward trend in indicators of unity and resilience, active participation from all sides is essential.
The research basically tells the public sector and also stakeholders where to reinforce, how to raise the residents' and families' capacity without waiting for the help of the government. And after this, we will evaluate weaknesses revealed and how institutions in charge should address these issues. That is why we think that this is the first step, and the next we will see what to do from what the research revealed.
The Minister of National Unity and Civic Engagement, Dr. Jean Damascene Bizimana, highlights that Rwandans should refrain from holding on to the painful past of Rwanda's history. Instead, they should focus on fostering self-reliance, building upon the achievements of the government.
We faced the tragedy of genocide and its bad ideology, which is a small portion of history, not more than a period of 40 years. And in other centuries before that, Rwandans were united. But that small portion of time, 35 to 40 years, almost destroyed the country. But the country was able to recover from that and is currently developing. It is necessary that values such as patriotism, heroism, determination, integrity, which are all part of resilience, should be checked to see at which level they are at, and also to see what needs to be done and the categories to reinforce.
This research in 30 regions was carried out in 90 sectors. About 7,000 people were interviewed. Among individual respondents, 80% expressed witnessing achieved unity and resilience. A survey conducted in public sector on unity and resilience on the aspect related to security, it has a rate of 94%. However, among families, this rating stood at 77%. To more news, the Rwanda Standards Board urges customers to ensure they fuel their vehicles only at officially certified gas stations inspected by the RSB, guaranteeing fuel quality and preventing theft or fraud. We have more on the story. At various gas stations, customers seeking petrol and diesel often admit they rarely check if the station is certified.
What I usually check is if they are legally accredited, but honestly, I've never thought about standardization before. This is the first time I've heard about varying qualities of petrol. What I usually check first is whether the amount of liters provided matches the money I gave. I wasn't aware that I could inquire about standardization to ensure the quality of petrol or diesel. However, it's beneficial that these standardization marks be easily recognized by anyone and that they are available in multiple languages, not just English.
However, gas stations undergo inspections at least twice a year to prevent accidents and ensure compliance with legal standards for petroleum products.
buri mwaka tuza kuri petrol station cyangwa station ya essence.
Every year we conduct inspections at all gas stations to verify compliance with legal standards of petroleum products. This ensures that when a buyer purchases 20 liters, they receive precisely 20 liters. We examine both the seller and buyer's side to ensure fairness, guaranteeing that buyers receive the quantity they paid for.
Additionally, customers of various gas stations are encouraged to verify if the stations they visit are standardized.
Every
time they go to these gas stations to look for petroleum products, it is good if they check first the standardization marks that are there to be sure that they've been inspected. And when you closely check, you should be able to see the standardization marks, ensuring the station's compliance.
The Rwanda Standards Board also emphasizes that gas stations found violating pricing and regulatory standards, aiming to compromise product quality, face fines starting at 2 million Rwandan francs or more. In today's health segment, we'll dig deep into knowing the eye disease, the pink eye disease, also known as viral conjunctivitis. Joining us today is Dr. Edson Rwagasare, Division Manager of Public Health Surveillance and Emergency Preparedness and Response at the Rwanda Biomedical Center. Welcome to our studio, Mr. Rwagasare.
Thank you, Liv.
First of all, could you provide an overview of viral conjunctivitis? What is viral conjunctivitis or pink eye disease?
Pink eye disease is an inflammation of the conjunctiva, or the transparent membrane that covers the eyeball, but also lining the eyelid, within the eyelid. We've been observing an increase of pink eye disease or conjunctivitis since mid-Feb, and these cases identified with or clustering within different schools. Due to the fact that that's a place where it's overcrowded. But this is very common. It's not our first time. And this disease tend to have the season pattern where we always see the peak of cases during this season.
So what are the causes and symptoms of the pink eye disease or viral conjunctivitis? And first of all, why is it called pink eye?
So pink eye disease can be caused by many factors. So it can be caused by virus, can be caused by bacteria, or can be caused by allergy. But this specific outbreak that we are observing in schools and other places in Rwanda is being driven by the virus, adenovirus, which is very contagious, and it's one of the diseases that we are grouped in terms of our transmitted from hand to eye, meaning after touching a contaminated surface, you can touch your eyes, and then that can be a port of entry for that virus.
So you say that it is a contagious disease. What are some of the preventive measures that people can take to avoid being contaminated?
So it's very contagious, and despite being contagious, it can be preventable. And some of the measures, if we just apply 2 interventions, that means if you apply hand washing using soap and water, and also avoiding close contact with someone who has these symptoms, you can cut the spread for more than 90%. So those are the big ones, but we also encourage people who have these symptoms to avoid swimming the pools, and also sharing of materials such as towels.
So how long does it take for the eye that is infected to resolve or to come back to normal, to be normal again? And what are some of the complications that may be associated with this disease if not treated?
So it usually takes 7 to 14 days to clear the virus, but sometimes tend to go up to 3 weeks to have all symptoms being resolved. And among symptoms of pink eye disease, we have redness of the eye. There is also itching, burning sensation of the eye, and also tearing, and sometimes discharge of white discharge that tend to class within the eyelid, and that's actually is most frequent in the morning hours. Some of the patients actually present with a light sensation and also having blurred vision. So these are just some of the symptoms, and most of them they clear within 7 to 14 days. So without treatment, you can be cleared, but also sometimes you might have complications. But so rare to have complication due to pink eye disease. So most of them, they are linked to, due to the fact that it's itching, and you have, sometimes you tend to touch the eye, so it can leave the scar at the cornea, but also same time at the conjunctiva. So those are main ones that tend to be the impact of pink eye disease.
You say that nowadays the peak is high, the disease is among schools and other regions because of the season. What current measures are being applied and strategies in Rwanda to manage the disease and reduce the impact of pink eye around the country?
Yes, so our strategies now, we are much more focused into prevention and treatment. So the reason why we're treating, the main purpose of treating is to relieve pain and also the inflammation. But at the same time, as we're also treating, we are reducing the length of infection that lead to cutting the spread of the disease. Some other measures I've just mentioned is on prevention, and we are ramping up our prevention measures, especially in schools, make sure that students are aware of the situation, but at the same time measures including hand washing and also awareness of all these strategies we are being situated countrywide. So those are two main focus that we are currently rolling out countrywide, but mainly just making sure that people are prevented, because we always know that prevention is better than cure.
Before we sum up our discussion, you say that there are some preventive measures that someone can take, such as hygiene practices and everything. Can the pink eye disease be resolved without being treated, or there is necessity to go to the doctor whenever you have this kind of disease?
Pink eye can be resolved similar to other viruses without getting treated, but I've just mentioned that there's a need to relieve inflammation and also prevent any complication that can be the outcome of pink eye. That's why we always encourage everyone who has such symptoms to seek care and get proper treatment.
Thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Rwagasore, and for sharing your expertise on this matter, which is really important. Thank you for being here.
Right, thank you.
And that story marks the end of One News Bulletin, and on behalf of the Technique One News production team, thank you for being part of One News today. Enjoy your weekend. Take care and goodbye.